Three giant news about Tesla full self-driving today. First, Tesla's director of autopilot, Ashok Alaswamy, replied to a video of FSD about how they've trained the system to assess the risk of whether an area is drivable or not. It all depends on the context, and FSD is intelligent enough to understand. Very fascinating. Second, we have Elon Musk saying that it's obvious the future will be both electric and self-driving. Then he made a comment about licensing FSD to other automakers. And finally, Tesla sent a post on X asking for people's best videos of FSD that you'd show to someone who hasn't experienced version 12 yet. I wonder why they might be wanting to collect these. Might you have a guess? So today, I've collected the best of these videos that really show off what FSD can and can't do. Watch and decide for yourself. And joining me is Brian White, my good friend, great YouTube channel on Tesla called FutureAza. Thank you so much, Brian.
Awesome to be here. This is the exciting news of the year to me, really.
It is, I think so, because you got Ashok comments, you got Elon comments, and then we're going to show 9 videos of what FSD can do at this point. And maybe you might say still can't do a lot of things. Let's take a look at that. So let's start off with Omar's catalog posted this morning. In the future, every car will be self-driving and electric. Every car Tesla makes is self-driving and electric, and they are the world leader in EV sales. As robot cars eat the auto market, Tesla will be the overwhelming benefactor. So if you believe that in the future, every car will be self-driving and electric, the only company today that is self-driving electric is Tesla, and of course a few others trying to say that they've got self-driving as well. But that is the future. Elon has said that several times. Here's what Elon says. Yes, should be obvious that that's the case. But again, lots of people still don't think so. Lots of EV makers don't have FSD or some sort of self-driving technology. And then he also replied again, just added another comment to that same one. He said, we will license the tech to other car companies. What's your thoughts on that, Brian?
My thought is do it. Do it now. If you're Nissan and you know that your approach is not going to get you there, license it, because it does 2 things. The biggest one is it means you don't have to invest anymore, and you can just tell your investors, hey man, it's handled, it's taken care of. It's a boost. It would be a boost for Tesla. It'd be a boost for Nissan or Mazda or whomever to just say, yes, we're going to license it. We will announce the partnership today. And even if it's just a token effort, we will begin talks to begin integration. And then you no longer have to invest your billions, and you no longer have to worry that your approach is wrong. You can follow the leader and it's just like the supercharger network. At some point, Ford had to say, look, there's no way we're going to get these trucks with huge batteries out there to be adopted. If they're going to go out and hit a 50 kilowatt charger or slower, it's just not going to work. We need to partner with the best. And do we want to spend $3 billion, $10 billion building our own charging network that's going to compete? Or do we want to put it in the hands of someone more capable and competent and let the integration problems between brands be their problem instead? Tesla's very good at software. They can handle it. And what we've seen so far is that when other brands use a supercharger, it also just works. And Tesla's got competencies from building out their supercharger network in conjunction with other third parties in Europe and China, and making sure that they all just work for everybody. And so it's the right move, and I think it's the right time, especially with companies understanding how difficult it is.
It seems so obvious, but again, it's one of those things that very many people still don't get, right? That not only do you have to have an electric vehicle, you need to have some sort of self-driving technology. If companies today are having trouble trying to create a profitable electric vehicle, how are they going to create the full self-driving technology if they haven't even started? They'll need to license it from somebody. Why wouldn't you license it from Tesla? Of course, there's the ego issue, possibly. That's the only one, but there's lots and lots of car companies. So I am very bullish, and I'm feeling pretty good that in the next 6 months, you're going to hear a licensing. It's going to happen because Tesla can only do, let's say, 1 or 3 partners because it's hardware plus software. And it's not just, go access my my supercharger network. And so it takes time for Tesla to pick 1 or 2 partners, and then everyone else is pushed back. And it'll take 2 to 3 years for a company, once they decide I've got partners, to actually integrate into their company. So you're going to see a rash of this. So this part here is really interesting, Brian. It's amazing. So first of all, Tesla put out this post. Reply with your best FSD video that you'd show to someone who hasn't experienced version 12 yet. They're collecting some great videos. I'm telling you, sounds to me that they're going to probably advertise this. They're going to start talking about it. Why are they collecting all these clips? This one from Scott Walter, he said version 12.3 versus a construction zone. And the reason I bring this up because Asha Kalaswamy, the director of AI, responded to this and actually answered a question about this. So let's go ahead and play that video and we'll listen to the rest. There's no sound on this, but you're just watching Scott driving his car with a version 12 through the construction zone. Okay, so I mean, it went off the road, it followed the cones, and it was gravel, and so that was just the comment that, whoa, you know, it's able to do that. So Ashok said this. He replied, it's a long tweet, sorry, but it's important. Whether some surface is drivable or not is all contextual. We typically don't want the car to drive on dirt, but since the paved road is closed, the car needs to drive on dirt. The same logic also applies, for example, to mounting small curbs. Like, should it drive over a curb or not to avoid a larger obstacle? So this collision avoidance can't be absolute. You can't just say, I'm going to create a system that is 100% no avoidance of collision. No, it's got to be relative. It depends on minimizing the risk of injury and property damage while still getting to the destination. It requires a lot of intelligence to assess this risk accurately. It's based on context. This comes naturally to humans, and it's now also obvious to the car's AI. So here's another one that he then said, here's an example of one. So let's watch what happened to Dave Mack.
Car driving like, wow, okay. Car actually drove up on the curve because that truck literally was coming at me. Wow. Wow, that was interesting. Good first start to not collide into a truck that's halfway into my lane and not giving the right of way. Interesting.
So you can see that the car, isn't that great? The car is smart enough to know, okay, I don't want to hit this car. This big truck was in the middle of the street. And it said, oh, okay, you know, there's a curb here, but I'm going to go ahead and drive over the curb. I'm going to make that decision. And it did it. That is very important.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I love is we've been talking about this for a while. If AI can solve chess, if AI can solve Go, why can't it solve driving just as easily? And the answer is, in chess, if you make an illegal move, the AI would stop you and say, that's an illegal move, go back. That truck just made an illegal move. You cannot just say, no, do over, the truck would hit you. You have to get out of its way. So it has to handle the exceptions to the rules. And this is what we've been waiting for.
That's because it's being trained on videos of humans, really good drivers, and that's what they would do. It's seen hundreds and hundreds of that scenario, and it now knows what to do in that scenario. This is the thing, again, people don't understand, right? It's like this thing is teaching itself, and just like a 17-year-old learns how to drive, it has to make that decision, and it's knowing it. So here's Ashok saying, here's another example of this. That's the one we just watched. Then he said that the final version of this is the trolley problem. Okay, so they're talking and thinking about it, right? This is like, okay, if you're gonna have to kill one person versus killing 5 people, you have to be smart enough. Like if you had to, there's no choice. The car is like, you know, you're in a massive accident and things are flying at 1,000,000 miles per hour. What do? So this is how smart the system needs to get. It needs to understand the context, and he's showing here that is already doing that today. So here's another clip from Chuck Cook, one of our favorites. He's always really good. Amazing clip on the FSD version 12.3. Let's watch this one.
Wrong turn lane to go straight. Let's see if it does it anyway. What's it going to do? Okay. Now, it honored the turn lane it was in. And now it's going to have to do a 3-point turn to get out of this. I don't think this is U-turn worthy. It's mapped a U-turn down here at an end of a street. So I'm proud that it didn't jump over. It could have, but it would have had to honor the traffic that had the right of way. Okay, I don't think the radius will work, but let's see. Oh my God. Oh my God. If it pulls this off, is it gonna, oh my, it was so close. It was so close. I'm just gonna sit here for a second. There's some dogs over here. Oh my gosh, look. I didn't touch anything. It was waiting for the dogs. Now look, I got another pedestrian who's gonna walk in front of me. It's honoring him. It is finding its way. Guys, I didn't touch the accelerator there. I actually thought it was stuck. I think it was waiting on the dogs. It did a U-turn all by, guys, that is robotaxi re-navigation right there. It's not a robotaxi yet, I know that. But that function that it just did is what a robotaxi will have to do when it gets itself in a bind. And it will get itself in a bind. That's just the way it works. But that level of not giving up, now, I would say that it needs to add reverse, because reverse is just another tool you have to get yourself out of a bind. And the fact that we don't have a reverse three-point turn maneuver yet is probably something it needs to learn how to do. Maybe it needs a lot of training data, I don't know. The only other reason I say that is because an unsuccessful U-turn needs reverse as an emergency bailout option, unless you're willing to jump a curb or something like that. The car can't just stop in the middle of a road because it miscalculated the radius of turn.
So Elon replied to that saying that reverse is coming, and in fact, it's going to come in the next couple of releases. It should be here before a couple of months from now, along with Smart Summon. But that video is fantastic, right? So it came into this, little, it got to turn around because it was trying to it was trying to find a parking spot is what it was doing. And then it was, it was able, first of all, it was tight, and yet it still figured out a way to do the 3-point, the circle, the turnaround. But it then honored this, people walking with their dogs, and then it stopped, and then it honored this pedestrian, and then it went off. It was just perfectly well done. Yeah. Any quick thoughts on that?
No, it's these videos are getting so good, they're turning into boring videos, and that's what we want to see. Excitement is great in some circumstances, but not when your life is on the line. That it often feels like there's a tiny man in your rearview mirror doing the driving for you, and that's what you want. And I didn't see the dogs. Did you see the dogs?
I did not see the dogs. Yeah.
I do not
Obviously,
have 8 eyes.
Yeah. I drove 12.3.3 myself 2 days ago, went across Seattle, came back, and it did 4 things that shocked me. And it was like, I guess I wouldn't say all of them were shocking. It's just that it was interesting. It was like, it did all the right things. Perfect drive. There was a jaywalker who decided to run across me that stopped well ahead. There was a car that decided to, I was parking spot. I'm going to go ahead and do that. It stopped well ahead to give it space to get in there. It knew that it was trying to park. It went into an intersection, and it was like, it turned yellow right as soon as we were going to cross, just like I would have done. You slow down and then go, you know what, I'm going to go for it. It's safe. That's exactly what it did. And then there was one time it was cutting into, it was in a highway, it needed to cut, and this had less than like half a mile to get into the left lane to get into the exit on the left exit, and it had to cross, and it wasn't crossing. I'm going, hey, it's coming up soon. You got to cross. And then I took my shoulder check, and there was certainly a car that was sitting there in a blind spot. So it knew that, and it helped me, not that I would have done it myself, because I'm sure I would have done my shoulder turn too, but it saw that before I did. Okay, let's keep watching some videos here. This is Josh West. He contributed this to the list. Well, look what FSD just did. Let's take a look at what the video here. So he's in a parking lot, and I think that in front of him there is a bunch of shopping carts. You see that? I don't know if you saw that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it knew that it can go around that.
Oh my gosh, it did it. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Unbelievable. I can't believe that. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This thing is much better than what I thought.
Let me
So
just
for
show you
those who
this.
don't, for
Yeah.
those who don't know, what's going on here is previously it would have just parked. It would have just stopped and said, "Look, it's an obstacle. I don't know what to tell you. It's blocked. The road is blocked. I'm not going to drive across parking spots to keep going." And in this case, it looked at it and said, "Well, based on all the driving data I have, the right thing
Yeah.
to do is ignore those lines. There's no obstacles in them. Go around it and keep going. And this is what you need. This is how you keep your robo-taxi from getting stuck."
Exactly, because there's parking lot lines, right? Parking lot lines, and it was said, oh, okay, there's no cars there. But look at this. It's like a very small space between this line of shopping carts and the other car, and it goes, I can get past that.
Okay.
And like, yeah, because it actually
Oh my
went
gosh.
into the parking spaces. Oops, sorry. Okay.
And again, these are, if you don't know what you're looking at, you'd say that's a very boring video. And that's what we want it to be. We want it to be boring. And that's why we're telling you what it is that we're actually looking at and why it's exciting.
I don't think it's boring yet. Okay, not yet, but okay. So here's another one from Dirty Tesla. Chris, he said, increasingly seeing examples that FSD takes pedestrian hand gestures into decision making. This is a big debate amongst us. I don't think people know yet if this is true or not. But if the pedestrian gives you a hand wave, does the car know what to do? Is it looking at the hand wave? We've heard that Tesla has said in the past that it is looking at this thing, but it's hard to tell. But we're hearing more and more of these examples from FSD beta testers saying that this is a real thing. So let's watch what happened here.
What the heck? This is crazy. The car waits for her. She points at her car and says, "I'm getting in." And then the car continues driving. What is happening?
I don't know if I saw that, but that's what he just assumed that's what happened. So can we see where she is?
Yes, right in
That
front
her?
of that car there. Yep.
Okay. Oh, there on the right.
Yeah.
She said,
Yeah.
I'm going to, I don't know if this is the case. So the car slowed down and it saw her. And then she kind of like said, oh, I'm not going to walk in front of you. I'm going to go here. And the car knew.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? This is crazy.
Hard to tell, right? Hard to tell.
Hard to tell.
But
If my gang was more cooperative, I would make them come out with me early in the morning and
Yeah.
do some
Yeah.
some testing like that. They're
Yeah.
just very hard to motivate. Is what goes on with my crew.
Who's in charge of your family? No, I'm
Well,
just kidding.
most of them are grown-ups now, so they are.
This is for a worthy cause. No, I'm just joking. Okay, that's fine.
It is.
All right.
It is. Get in front of my car. Jump in front of me.
Different hand signals. So there's just so many. Here's Edge Case. Where do I begin? He's one of the best people to follow. He's been dropping these incredible little clips of what FSD 12 can do now. So let's listen to what Edge Case showed us. This is
All right, put yourself into a really challenging situation. We gotta get into the right lane, but the traffic is super backed up. This will be very interesting. We have a bicyclist right in front of us. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Very good. Assertive. Keep going. I love this. This is amazing. Amazing. Oh, we even gonna look at that. We even squeezed in here between these two cars. Holy crap. Holy crap. Best thing I've ever seen.
okay. So I think it's easiest if you look at the bottom and watch the bottom because that's
Challenging
easier to
situation.
see than the top.
We gotta get into the
So
right
the
lane,
car
but
turned
the
left,
traffic is
and now
super
we need to
backed
turn
up.
right really
This will
quickly.
be very
But there's a
interesting.
lineup.
Bicyclist right in front of us.
You see all the cars here at the bottom here. You can see there's a lineup.
Yeah.
And just like you, okay, what do I do? Because I need to turn right, and there's a huge lineup. I can't get in
Ooh,
there,
yes,
and
yes,
that's
yes,
waiting
very
for a
good.
space to
Assertive. Keep
open up.
going. I love this. This is amazing. Amazing.
The guy behind
we
him
even
slowed
gonna-
down.
Look at that. We even squeezed in here between these two
Squeezed
cars.
in. Look at that, just before
Holy
the
crap.
right turn.
Holy crap.
Amazing.
Okay.
I would have assumed that it would have looped the block a couple times and rerouted me, because I probably would have not Boy, I'd have looked for that opportunity to get in there. I'm not sure I would have found it. I'm not sure I would have been adequately assertive, but that felt like not even an aggressive professional driver, but just a normal driver.
Well, I think it behaved the way it is. It wasn't aggressive. So it was okay. There's
No.
a long lineup of cars. You're going to go there. So what you do, slow down a little bit. You turn on your blinker and hope that the car slows down and gives you space. If they don't give you space, time for you to move on. But you're hoping that the car would be polite enough to give you space, and it happened, and then you take it. You had no other choice here. But that was one of his favorites. There's a lot that he drops. Here's another one from Mechanica. Just now with my son trying FSD for the first time, it ran around a vehicle that caused us to be stuck in the intersection. I think we need to replay this a few times because I didn't quite understand it. So there's cars in the intersection, it looks like. And he's trying to cross the intersection, so he stops. Okay, what do I do now? It's a green light. I'm stopped, so that if the green light turns red, I'm still safe. But no, he goes, okay, I'm going to go around him because there's space to my right.
Wow. That was pretty awesome.
Pretty good.
So, yeah,
Pretty good.
and one of the edge cases, right? There's an intersection. There's cars stopped in the intersection. What do? Still your green light. Found a space. Moved in. Here's another one from. Let's see, where are we here? Edge case. He says the ability for FSD version 12 to simultaneously see in all directions at once and preemptively react to pedestrians crossing our path while also being mindful of where it needs to wait is very special and underappreciated feature of the system. Let's see what he's talking about here.
So we have cars coming from the left. We got two, but pretty clear from the left. But there's a truck coming from the... Ooh, that was almost an accident.
Oh my God.
That Tesla stopped. Okay, good. I'm glad that we waited here for the pedestrians.
It puts
That
on
was a good
pedestrian.
move.
And we are
It's a
not
safe-
sticking out the back.
Dude, this is a very interesting intersection
Safe
because
in the
it's
medium.
very nuanced, where you have to stay to wait for things.
Right.
It's doing a
was
really
a
good
good
job.
one.
Yeah.
So it knew to pause in the safe area because there was a pedestrian that was crossing the path. This is one of my
Yeah.
most favorite one here. I've played it before because I liked it so much. I want to play it again. AI driver, another person you should follow, has so many of these clips, and he shows that FSD is very, very polite. Let's watch this one.
No, you. No, you. It's okay.
I love AI driver's visualization. He shows at the bottom
best.
there. It looks
best.
so beautiful. So what happened here? I had to play it a few times, of course. So there's a intersection that's all red. So all the cars are stopped. You're now going to try it. You want to go straight, but it knows that a car is here, and it knows it's not parked. It knows that it's trying to cross, and it stops way in advance, giving it space in the intersection here, or this area here. Like, you shouldn't block this and let cars get through. And it said, okay, like you said, no, your turn. No, you go ahead. I'll let you go. And then it let it go, and then it followed along. Isn't that great? And so it knew to let the car in. I mean, how do you teach it to do something like that, right? It's just
So beautiful.
it's beautiful. So those are my clips. What's your thoughts, Brian, on all of these clips? There's so many more. I just didn't know we'd have enough time to show all of them. but that
Infinity
was a good
more.
one.
Infinity more. And I've got a bunch of cases of my own that I'll be showing. There's this crazy left in my town which is quite challenging. And I did one last run on it on version 11 before I was updated, where it really, it's a illegal left across a double yellow with 2 lanes of oncoming traffic. And it just got halfway in and freaked out. There was not enough traffic around. I let it try and get through it, and it didn't. Then on version 3.2.1, it thought about it and avoided it, and then the next day it tried it again. And on 12.3.3, there was a big enough gap. It shot the gap, and it went. And I let it, because in that situation, I might have done it as well. And it was pretty interesting. It's gotten more confident. And the best part is, unlike with previous versions where you'd be lucky to get a new version every 3 to 6 months, we're getting improvements every week or so. And this is telling me that the lack of being compute constrained is affording new opportunities to move forward at a breakneck pace. And these are exciting times. And if you don't see what's coming, I don't know what to tell you, man. Pay attention.
So first, I think there's a huge difference between people who watch videos like this, and many of us watch Omar, we watch many people saying, hey, let's look what it did end-to-end, no engagement, versus you trying it yourself, watching the car. And as you're driving and you're actually, holding it and you're supervising the FSD, you at every moment, every second, you are saying to yourself, oh, okay, this is what I will do. This is what I'll do. And every single moment when it does what you would do, you're going, okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, good. And that's one of the kind of like the difference between when you try it yourself versus, watching these videos. And then two, we're noticing now is that in version 11 and others, it would do stupid things. It was break in the middle. It would sometimes just turn right when it shouldn't turn right and get you into real trouble, right? Critical safety issues. Right now, knock on wood, 12.3 seems to not do that as much, right? I mean, you got to be super careful. I'm sure it can still happen. But now, look at all these videos we're watching. The videos we're watching is not, oh, look, it drove end to end and it was able to do a normal, city block by block, stopped at the stoplight. No, we're talking about nuanced stuff. This is, FSD learning how to behave like a human at all these different edge cases that people talk about. Yeah. And it's figured it out.
It doesn't frustrate me that the average driver, the average viewer doesn't know what a big step change this is. What annoys me is how many people working elsewhere in the autonomy field refuse to even look. No, I'm sure our approach is better. I've tried FSD before. It's not that great. Guys, 12 is different, and you need to hop on Turo and find someone who's got one and take it out today. Because if you don't know what you're missing, you don't understand how much you've just been leapfrogged in the last week, and your company is in danger.
The other part that people need to think about is that this is, right, end-to-end neural net. And now you have 400,000 people, and then who are beta testing, which you've always had for version 11 and others. Now they've opened it up to the 1 month free, so even more. But this neural net, it learns because of all these videos, and now that they're no longer compute constrained, they can bring in more videos. And what they do is they tag all the best drivers, and then they train on all that. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like one driver driving a million times. It's like, for years, it's 400,000, 500,000, 1 million drivers. And all those edge cases are happening every single hour, every single minute. It's happening. And then when one car learns to solve that edge case or seen it, the others have seen it. So it's like, it's exponential how fast this is going to learn. And that's where when people say, don't you know that there's 1 million edge cases, it will be impossible for the car to get there, maybe 5 years, 10 years. Okay, maybe you're right. Okay. I don't think you're right.
I don't think so either. I don't think so. There are 10 million edge cases, and you and I didn't learn about them in driver's ed. I can still drive. And if this is driving based on not rules, but the gist of what driving is, all it has to do is dial in the gist, which it appears to be doing quite quickly. And it's my confidence has never been higher.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to go back to what Ashok said. This is Ashok Alaswamy. He's the director of Autopilot. It's not Elon saying things. He's saying that, this comes naturally to humans and is now also obvious to the car's AI. It requires a lot of intelligence to assess this risk accurately. Okay, So he's saying that his car can actually assess a risk, a scenario. It knows the context. It will act intelligently. It's not just, oh, it's a green light, I better drive now. It's a red light, I better stop now. It's what's happening in the scenario. There's a line of shopping carts, and I'm in a parking lot, and those are parking spot lines. There's nobody there. And this is probably not going to move anymore, this shopping cart. So I'm going to go around it.
It's amazing.
It knows what's going on. And that's why Elon calls it baby AGI. And it needs to read. It can actually apparently read signs and street markings. It knows what's going on. It knows what a tree is. It knows what a fire hydrant is. Like, it knows what it is. It knows what its purpose is. Like, that's what Ashok had said in his presentation 9 months ago. All right. Well, hopefully you guys found this valuable. We walked you through some of the best FSD videos. Tesla's collecting this. And, I'm sure that they're going to do something with this list. They're going to curate it. They're going to start teaching people who have not yet seen FSD version 12. You can see the confidence between Elon and the team. Ashok also had a previous tweet, a post yesterday, where he said this is the beginning of the end. So we're not there. It's not the end. We're not saying this is ready, but it's gosh darn getting close. So we're getting there. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me, Brian. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Herbert.
Okay. Follow Brian on his YouTube channel, FutureAza. Thanks, everybody. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.